We're joined by Kevin O'Leary. You know him, the businessman, chairman of O'Leary Ventures, an investor, and known on air for his financial wisdom. And he's Mr. Wonderful on CNBC's Shark Tank. So you probably have seen him multiple places. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Great to have you. Let's start with the Wall Street Journal, looking at how this has all gone down as we get deeper into tariff season, and there have been exceptions. The Journal writes that Trump is first making U.S. companies less competitive. Then he and his administration pick exceptions, politicians, not success in the marketplace, picking business winners and losers. Do you share that concern with how this is going and the exceptions? And what do you think of the sort of volatility in the market response to the tariffs?
No, I don't share that narrative. I'll tell you, the thing about Trump after 12 years, he's bombastic. He says outrageous things. He's all over the map sometimes. You have to pick the signal out of the noise. And so you got two stacks going on here. Number one is tariffs, reciprocal tariffs on 60 plus countries. And so, you're already starting to see these countries show up at the White House saying, okay, let's go to zero tariffs. Vietnam's an example. The big win would be EU, give you access to German markets on car parts and everything. I mean, there's just so many tariffs that have been, schedules been around since the Second World War. So what's unique about this is no administration's ever tried to negotiate 60 countries at once. I mean, usually you do a NAFTA kind of deal, Canada, Mexico type thing, or you go after the EU, maybe blend in Britain because they're not part of it, and maybe Switzerland also separate. But this is just really different. And so that's just reciprocal tariffs. Then you got the China stack. That's a completely different story. I've been talking about this for years. China is cheating, stealing, ripping off IP, wiping out American companies, many of them mine. They don't abide by any IP laws since they joined the WTO in 2000. Never 1 week were they compliant. There are thousands of complaints. Yeah. And I'm very interested in settling it.
I want
to do business with China.
Let me slow you down for a second, let you continue. You're referring to, separate from the tariff issues, that they basically, in the view of many Western companies and legal experts, steal property. They steal intellectual property. And you're saying the tariff war is one way to push back on that.
Well, I think the way to do it is to raise tariffs. I bombastically said 400% would shut down trade. Trump said 145. That's also shutting down trade. This is a game of chicken right now because Xi's got to keep all these people employed in these factories, of which America consumes almost 39% of all consumables. And so China can't live without it. And we're still 26% of the world's GDP. And then he doesn't have to face a vote because he's the supreme leader, but he's not stupid. He's a very successful politician. If these factory workers are unemployed, he's got two options: print money, have hyperinflation, sell U.S. Treasury bills, which makes his currency go up and the U.S. dollar down, wipes him out in selling other goods to other countries. This guy is in a squeeze box. He's in a tough place. And the only way to negotiate with China is to understand leverage. And so I think he comes to the table. The higher the squeeze, the sooner he comes. And they both have to have escape valves. I mean, Xi's got to have an exit. And by the way, most investors, I'm one of them, would love to do business in China. This is the second fastest growing economy on earth right now, and going to be parity with the U.S. in 20 years. We want to form some kind of a union that's not so antagonistic. But you can't cheat, you can't steal, you can't just. They don't even care about IP law. It's beyond ridiculous. And so now is the squeeze point.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm going to jump in again. Yeah. So you sound more tariff-friendly to this strategy than a lot of the experts that are out there. I think you would agree with that. I mean, Wall Street Journal, a lot of economists, a lot of the criticism people have seen, the market response, if you want to just look at U.S. markets' initial response to it. Obviously, we lived through that. And so I guess one question I think would be interesting for viewers to hear, because we had Paul Krugman on last week, who said this is a debacle and risks something worse than a recession. You're saying it could work. I guess one question I have for you that I think people would be interested to hear from your perspective on is, how is it going to work better than so far? Because the United States went high tariffs under Trump, then we had what we had, the reaction, and without publicly announced wins, he rolled them all back, other than China. So what didn't we get in that process that you think we could get as a country in the future?
So I look at the 60 countries plus, including Mexico, Canada, and the EU. I think that's going to get worked out. It's going to get to some reciprocal tariff, call it 10%. I don't even care. That to me is going to get worked out. The one that I'm concerned about is China. And so, 50% of the people that criticize Trump, and I totally get this because I don't shill for politicians, including Trump. Yeah. I shill for policy. I care about policy. And so they've got Trump derangement syndrome. I get it. I understand it. 50% of the narrative is always how much they hate Trump.
I got to jump in. I don't think Bill Ackman has Trump derangement syndrome. You have your position on this, and you know a lot. You got a lot of experience. Ackman voted for Trump, campaigned for Trump, and said the opening of the trade war was risking a nuclear winter. I don't think that comes out of his hatred for Trump. It came out of his concern that the way they rolled it out, even if you're friendly to him, wasn't working, which is why they backtracked, did they not, on most of the non-China countries.
Listen, I'm not friendly to anybody. I look at policy. I understand Ackman's position. We're 3 weeks and 4 days into this narrative. That's nothing in the context of what we're trying to solve. They've been stealing and cheating for 21 years. We're finally getting administration, including the Europeans and all the other American administrations since the beginning of time that always were complacent with China, saying, ooh, let's not make them mad. I want to make them mad. I want to solve this because I'm a guy that actually does business there. And I'm telling you, they wipe out thousands, if not millions of American companies that get to 5 million in sales and they rip off their IP. You want to keep this going? You want to start entrepreneurship, let a family build a business and have China wipe it out because they didn't have to pay for any of the IP? I think I'm done with that. I'm just one voice. But I think that narrative is starting to pick up a little momentum here. I'm not lying to you. There are millions of American companies wiped out by what China does. I don't know why you're okay with it. You shouldn't be. And Ackman is not dealing with small entrepreneurship like I am. 62% of jobs in America are created companies 5 to 500 employees. I am their advocate, and we're pissed. Okay? So we finally got somebody in the White House saying, what about this IP theft? I'm just speaking on behalf of every small entrepreneur in America, and I think I have my army behind me. I'm okay with it. Now, this Ackman thing, look, he's not stupid either, but give it a few weeks. I think we're going to get something worked out here.
Let's do it.
He's also in a bad place.